Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was only a matter of time before we saw the government trying to use the Expropriation Act. Cyril signed it not too long ago, and they're already thinking, or actually no, they're not even thinking, they're saying they're gonna use it. They want to use it to reclaim hijacked buildings and abandoned buildings in Johannesburg. But is this really about cleaning up the city, or is this just a land grab in disguise? Let's get into it.
When people zone
have our smallanyana skeletons.
Did I hear that correctly? Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Newsflash. I'm your host Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. Expropriation Act will be used to reclaim hijacked buildings in Johannesburg.
I know it! I know it! I know it!
So President Cyril Ramaphosa is deeply concerned about the state of Johannesburg. Apparently, the city's got hijacked buildings, a water crisis, non-functional streetlights, and infrastructure falling apart. Basically, it's like the season finale of Survivor Johannesburg edition, and Ramaphosa's big solution? The Expropriation Act. According to Public Works Deputy Minister Sihle Zikalala, the government is going to use the Expropriation Act to reclaim buildings that are abandoned or hijacked. They'll renovate them, repurpose them for social housing, commercial spaces, or student accommodation, and restore the city's vibrancy. Sounds great, right? The government actually fixing something for once.
I don't trust them.
But hold on, let's take a closer look. Alright, let's bring in some common law for a second. In most cases, if you abandon your property, you don't own it anymore. Basically, it's like when you leave your socks at the laundromat. Whoever picks them up next can claim them. But thanks to the Deeds Registries Act, fixed property like land and buildings can't just be abandoned legally. Now, if the government actually wanted to deal with hijacked and abandoned buildings properly, they wouldn't need the Expropriation Act at all. They could have just amended the Deeds Registries Act. They could have just amended the Deeds Registries Act to allow for abandoned property to be claimed. But they didn't. Why?
Curiouser and curiouser.
See, the Expropriation Act isn't really about cleaning up the city. It's about justifying a massive power grab. The government is using urban decay, something we all agree needs fixing, as a convenient excuse to expand its ability to seize property. So let's be real, this isn't about fixing hijacked buildings. Remember, the act allows expropriation without compensation, meaning the state can grab property without paying for it. The ANC be like, see, we're only using our powers for good. We're cleaning up the city. What could possibly go wrong? But wait, there's more. They also want to bring in the private sector. And by bring in, I mean control. Instead of selling or transferring these reclaimed buildings, the government wants to lease them out through what they call an asset optimization strategy, which means they'll keep ownership while private companies do all the renovations. Sounds like a win-win, right? Until you realize it just keeps the government in control while the private sector foots the bill. Classic ANC economics. Let someone else do the work while they hold the keys. So let's summarize. The government could have just amended one law, but instead they're using the Expropriation Act as a Trojan horse to seize more property, hold onto it, and lease it out under their terms. And if you dare oppose it, they'll accuse you of being against urban renewal. It's a brilliant strategy if you're into authoritarianism. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen this movie before. It starts slow and meticulous. At the beginning, it's for the good of the people. And they test the waters to see how people react. But make no mistake, the moment you give them a pinky, they're gonna take the whole freaking body.
You're very predictable.
A lot of people are going to be watching to how exactly this plays out. And while yes, Johannesburg is facing a very big problem right now with the decay, and the city does need to be renovated and fixed, but this is not the way to do it. Had the ANC focused on having a very solid police and justice system, we could have easily removed everybody who hijacked these buildings, and they should be in jail. And whoever owned these buildings would have been able to maintain them. But the ANC doesn't care about law and order. And what's even more frustrating is the fact that some of these buildings are owned by someone, and these people have lost ownership to their buildings, not by choice. And I'm sure that some of them wanted to go the legal route and maybe try and get evictions and all that, but the justice system takes forever. So again, because of a failed police system and a failed justice system, the ANC creates an act that just bypasses everything. Oh, you lost control of your property? We'll just take it for free.
I'm warning you, that's communist talk.
While I have you here, please consider becoming a member, ladies and gentlemen. It goes a long way to supporting me and the channel and helping me to produce content. You can find out all the details in the join button below. There's a lot of perks if you become a member. And if you can't become a member, that's okay. Please consider giving a super thanks. It goes a long way to supporting me and the channel. And also, don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. I'd really like to hear from you. Do you think this is all an act? Yeah, pun intended. Or do you think the government's going to deliver on their promises this time and really renovate Johannesburg? Or is it a ploy? Is it a power grab or land grab? While you're down there, leave a like on the video, share it far and wide, and subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming your way. With all that being said, thanks for watching. Your Newsflash is in.
Mississippi mud. Now, through baking across America, I've discovered the South does dessert particularly well. Butter! And you can't get much more southern than Mississippi. Right there. We start with 40 Oreos. Unlike certain forms of contraception, we are not discarding the filling. Keep it in and turn to crumbs. Melt 3/4 of a cup of butter. Fire! And mix with the crumbs. Butter! Press this into a 9x13. Grease your pan if you want, but there's so much butter it should be okay. Bake for 8 minutes at 350. Done! The filling is half a cup of cocoa. A cup of melted butter. That is a beautiful smell. Now we let that cool a bit while we beat 4 eggies. I'm now broke. Whisk. In goes 1 3/4 cups of sugar, a salt a pinch, and some vanilla. Ooh. 1½ cups of flour, 2 cups of pecans. Love a good nut. This is essentially a gooey brownie, and we smooth over the crust. Now there's many ways to make Mississippi mud. You got pies, you got cakes, you got puddings. But this is my recipe for the best of them all. 350 for about 40 minutes. During the last 5 minutes, you're gonna sprinkle on 3 cups of mini marshmallows. Carefully. Ooh. I'm gonna show you something. Don't tell on me. While that cools, the last step needs 4 cups of powdered sugar. Vanilla. 2/3 of a cup of evaporated milk. You whisk it all in before a final ½ cup of melted butter. Layer on thick. Ooh, it's such a healthy and light dessert. Let this cool. Oh my goodness. That is thrilling. Guilty of 1 or 2 nutritional felonies, sure. But I don't mind death by chocolate. And Mississippi doesn't play around.